Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. It has been a while, but I am back, and this video is gonna be a bit more unique of a video. We were gonna figure out who is the best leader in fiction. I know we all thought of this before, saying who is the best leader of all of fiction. Okay. Now we have 16 fictional leaders here from multiple different universes. And you might be thinking, who picked the 16 leaders? Was it some type of computer algorithm that sorted out all the best leaders with multiple different factors? No, it was me and my friend who thought of the leaders. So if your favorite leader is in here, oh well, I then thought of them. Anyway, we have 16 leaders here. We're gonna figure out who are these leaders and where are they from, because it's from a specific universe. So we have Captain America from the MCU. We have Caesar from the modern Planet of the Apes. We have Captain Picard. We have Thanos. We have Aragorn and Voldemort, both from the movies, not from the books. We have T'Challa, Katniss Everdeen, Emperor Palpatine, Leonardo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show on Nickelodeon. I assume, I assume the show everyone's talking about. We all know the show. We have Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. We have Ned Stark from Game of Thrones, the TV show. We have Vito Corleone. We have Harry Potter. We have the Arkham Knight from the Arkham Batman series. We have Captain Kirk. So that is the 16, and it's going to be a single elimination round. So each one's going to keep going on. So what are the factors that will be um, measuring these leaders' strengths and weaknesses, and will be going on to the next round or will be eliminated? Well, the factors will be effectiveness, trustability, motivation, and flexibility. Now let's go. What do these mean? Now these means the first one is effectability. This means are they basically successful in their goal? So the leader has a goal, um, and were they successful at doing the goals? So let's say we're Captain America successful at whatever the hell, or Caesar this or whatever. Next, we have flexibility. Now, flexibility is basically if something goes wrong in the plan, then how can they adapt to make the plan still work or make a different plan that still gets to the end goal? The next one would be motivation. Can you motivate the followers that you are leading? You have enough motivation. And trust. Trustability is basically, does the followers have trust in you as a leader? Those are the four factors that will be looking to see which is the leader that moves on to the next round. Um, so as we will be considering other factors. These are the four factors that we'll be considering in elimination. So the first round, it's a bit of a spicy one, is Captain America versus Caesar. Now, what are pros for Captain America? Captain America was one of the main leaders in Avengers. He stopped Thanos. He stopped Ultron. Uh, stopped Loki. He stopped the world from dying over and over again. So this guy is pretty good. The problem is, the downside is that he wasn't the full leader in all the times. He had multiple different leaders. Iron Man could also be a leader. There was other leaders. He didn't know everything was going on in the movies, bro. So we can't assume that all the stuff that the Avengers did was on him. It wasn't. Caesar, on the other hand, all the stuff that the apes did, which was made their own civilization, apart from the humans, was all related to him. Now there was a revolt in the second film, um, but revolts happen. No leader could stop revolt. So the pressure that Caesar had to take care of a whole civilization compared to the pressure that Captain America had to just take care of some superheroes that could easily take care of themselves is very different. And due to that type of more effectiveness as a leader, also more trustability as a leader. Even though they have a revolt, Caesar definitely had more trust. The apes definitely had more trust in Caesar than the heroes or the superheroes in Captain America because they were too busy doing other stuff, and So Caesar will be going on to the next round, on to the quarterfinals. Next, we have Captain Picard from the New Generation, Star Trek, and Thanos from the MCU. To be honest, Thanos was here just for filler. I think Thanos not that well of a leader. He had a whole squad in Infinity War that he basically just let die for no good reason. They did not deserve death, and I don't know why these guys even trusted Thanos. And Endgame basically had no, like, he just had the mob at the end. That's basically all he did. So Thanos is kind of a bad leader. Compared to Captain Picard, which takes care of a whole starship, the Starship Enterprise. He's also very flexible. All Star Trek leaders are very flexible because stuff happens every single episode. There's a new alien invasion. There's this. There's that. So yeah, I think it's pretty easy. Captain Picard moves on to the next round. Okay, Aragorn versus Voldemort, both from the movies. We're not be considering the book versions. Aragorn is the king of man, right? The king of all the human kingdoms at the end. Problem is that Aragorn didn't really want to be a leader in the beginning. Of course, he does change by the end, and by the end, he does become the Return of the King. But in the beginning, he didn't want to be a leader, which kind of does um, lower his points in trustability. Because if someone doesn't want to be a leader first, like I don't know if I'll trust them completely. That's lower point in every single measure. Effectiveness, how can you be effective if you don't want to be in the beginning? So that's the biggest issue with Aragorn. Voldemort, from the very beginning, he sought to take over the wizarding world. He sought to destroy the people that opposed him. Of course, he did fail, but he even when he did fail, he was into became into a spirit form, and he came back like 30 years later, I don't remember, but decades later to get revenge. Of course, he did eventually fail, but I think Voldemort had much more planning and meticulous thinking to his plans, and also the Death Eaters, which are the followers. Aragorn, who basically just at the end of Return of the King, just decides to be a king all of a sudden, and everyone follows him. Voldemort had much more work to do than Aragorn, so Voldemort is going moving on to the next round. We have T'Challa, the Black Panther from the MCU. It's Katniss Everdeen. Now T'Challa um is the leader of Wakanda. Of course, T'Challa is no longer the leader of Wakanda, but we're talking about if they're a good leader. Now the only leading skills we saw was in Civil War and the Black Panther, the original 2018 one. In Civil War, he wasn't really a leader at the time until his father died, and we see nothing about him. So the only one we have evidence from the Black Panther, and the Black Panther he gets killed by the revolutionary that takes over. He has to go to hiding, and then at the end he comes back. I don't know about you, but that seems kind of a bad leader skills. Everything was just kind of given to him by his father, and so he's kind of figured out. So I feel this is a bit bad because he needed more character. He needed more character development, but T'Challa was not the best due to just that flaws and kind of everything. Being an idol for the people, part of the most trust the average person. Of course, there were like President Coin had some suspicions of her, and people didn't take her seriously. But compare that to T'Challa, which kind of just threw away his kingdom for just a couple times, then came back. I think Candace Everything was a better leader than T'Challa was. Emperor Palpatine from all the Star Wars, and Leonardo. Leonardo is a good leader for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He does take a lot of advice from the Rat Splinter, I think that was his name. He has a lot of villains, but the problem is that the only people he leads is like three people, and all of them are brothers, so obviously they're gonna have trust in them. So I don't know if the leader of your family is really a leader. Emperor Palpatine, on the other hand, had started a whole civil war, made an empire, gave absolute power, created two super death machines just due to the variability. I think Emperor Palpatine is moving on. Monkey D. Luffy versus Ned Stark. Yeah, this one's a bit shorter. Monkey D. Luffy still hasn't been king of the pirates. Probably not going to be. Ned Stark is moving on. I don't know. I know he failed, but that's the series over. Almost watching the series. Anyway, Vito Corleone from The Godfather versus Harry Potter. Now we have another Harry Potter character here, but not the good side of Harry Potter. And Harry Potter was an okay leader. He made the Order of Phoenix for one book or for one movie, and then that stopped existing. Then for the Deathly Hallows, we assumed he would take leadership skills. He didn't. He went on his own stuff, and then he grouped up, and then he kind of led the good guys at the end of Deathly Hallows, but not really. Um, there isn't really that much leadership skill that Harry Potter does have. It's more just a cheerleader more than a leader. Um, so I think Vito Corleone, due to starting from nothing, when he barely moved to America, all the way to becoming the Godfather at the end of his life, is quite very impressive. Much more impressive than Harry Potter. The Arkham Knight's another Batman villain, the biggest Batman villain apparently, even though he really wasn't. But the Arkham Knight basically escapes all the villains from Arkham and basically makes the city of Gotham into a mad place even more than it already is, which is pretty impressive. Captain Kirk, on the other hand, is another Starship Enterprise leader that has probably the most flexible as well with Picard, because stuff happens every single episode. Has already trust because every single time red shirt dies, no one talks about that. I don't know why if you're wearing a red shirt you would trust Captain Kirk, but for some reason they do. And due to just the longevity of Captain Kirk with his crew, compared to the Arkham Knight, who had one game, and that's really about it. I think Captain Kirk will move on. Okay, so that will be the end of part one of the best leaders in fiction. I will be doing part two very soon. Going to the quarterfinals, we have Caesar from the Planet of the Apes versus Captain Picard from Star Trek. We have Voldemort versus Katniss Everdeen. We have Emperor Palpatine versus Ned Stark. We have Vito Corleone versus Captain Kirk.